Good afternoon and welcome to The Law. This is your legal light and health law with me, Samson Ladi Anyenini. And it is Ghana month, so let's get local, traditional, if you like. And today we bring you a very interesting situation. You know that on The Law, we have introduced you to a very new law in Ghana about spousal property and spousal property rights. Today, we introduce you to yet another new law. They say ignorance of the law is no excuse. Once the law has been passed and gazetted, assented to by the president and gazetted, you are deemed to know. So if you offend it without knowing, that will not be a defense in the court of law. So thank us after this session. If you disclose anybody's nude pictures, videos, or you threaten them with circulating some nude pictures that may have come your way, you may be a candidate for jail for 25 solid years. We'll be right back. Last year, actress Rosemond Alade Brown, aka Ekwapon Polo, appeared before an Accra Circuit Court for allegedly displaying her naked picture together with her son on social media. Rosemond, a social media entertainer, was charged with publication of obscene material, 2 counts of engaging in domestic violence, but pleaded not guilty. You may have remembered the case of Waisa, or what is his name? The court, presided over by Mrs. Christina Khan, admitted Rosemond to bail in the sum of 100,000, with 4 sureties, 2 to be justified. It's not easy to get sureties to justify. With landed property worth 100,000. You don't want to go through all of this trouble. The prosecution held that Rosemond deliberately posted the nude picture together with her son. So there's an attempt of an apology by her in a video after posting the photos. Let's watch.
What I want to say is, I was trying to send a message to kids and children, even grown-up people who don't regard their parents, especially their mothers. Some people will see their parent out there mad, naked, and because they are naked, they'll run away and they won't take care of their parents, they won't clothe them. So what I was saying is, no matter how naked fool you see your parent, don't run away from them. Get close to them and clothe them. That was what I was trying to say. Nakedness doesn't mean the person is topless or whatever. Someone can expose someone and that means the person is naked. So that was what I was trying to send out there. Because I'm an artist. So it was an artistic impression I was posting out there. But not porn. But all the same, I want to say that I'm so sorry if I hate or anyone got hate with my post this morning. And also want you to know that it wasn't bad intention. I was just trying to send a message out there. That's all.
No. And I think that she's going to be held under the Criminal and Other Offences Act. And for the child, she can be brought under the Children's Act 560, like I said already. 6A, and we can also use the Electronic Transaction Act 2008 also against it, even the Data Protection Act, because that child has a right. So the ministry is definitely going to follow up on this issue. And I think the laws of this land must be adhered to. We have to make sure that we don't set any bad precedent. I don't think this is good enough at all, especially for this growing up young boy. And from the way I saw the picture, it tells me that this might not even be the first time. Probably something she's been doing, but unfortunately this one went viral.
Yeah.
So once she's exposed that young child, the laws of this land will definitely catch up on her. And I'm hoping that the CID will go through with her on this particular issue. We've had too many of such things on social media. And I think it's about time that we make sure that the law works for the first time on some of this issue.
Right. So that's just one of such stories that have come up as far as these matters are concerned. So get ready. Today, we are going to open the phone lines very quickly for you so that you can join in and ask your questions. We are more interested in answering your questions that you may have as far as this phenomenon is concerned. It appears to be widespread, particularly on campuses where students are having intercourse and recording, their sexual encounters, and sometimes because of situations where things have gone wrong, then one party decides to share and circulate the video, particularly so that the lady or the girl in question will be embarrassed. Too often, it is the ladies that are embarrassed. We have situations where we have what is called revenge pornography. You know about that? And that's going on. So, what sort of news, good or bad, is this new law, the Cyber Security Act? Joining us is someone who is in the field of entertainment, very known in this area, and is aware of how some of these things have gone on and has had the opportunity to discuss them many times. George Quay is host Showbiz A to Z and Late Night Express. Both shows I subscribe quietly. Hello, thank you and welcome to The Law.
Counsel, it's an honor to be here. I feel like a lawyer today.
Great.
Should I have worn a suit and put something on my head?
It's Ghana month, so let's enjoy it.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Normally I would have been here with a suit, but I'm not in suits. All right. So, George, tell us, you have been in this industry for a very long time, and you are a giant in the industry. Tell us about what the information about this news, what it means to the industry to start with, before we generalize it to, everybody else.
Counsel, thank you very much. With technological development or with any kind of development, there are downsides. There are good sides and there are bad sides. And one of the biggest downsides of technology in this age has been the use of social media for all manner of things. I mean, let's face it, 20 years ago, social media was not what it is today. And when we talk social media, we're just talking about realistically, less than 20 years ago. It was not what it was today. I remember my first mobile phone. It was, at the time, Mobitel, and it was the big yaps. I mean, put on level, very, very big one.
Right.
And this was as recent as 2000, 2001. When I entered Legon, that was the first time I had a mobile phone. And those days it was, I think, CDGM or something. I don't know what they called that one, but it was not the digital type that we have today where you can take photographs and all those things. No. In those days, going to the telephone and using a phone card was still very, very fresh. People were actually queuing. And when you enter the University of Ghana, right at the entrance, behind that security post, there were two Ghana telephone posts. And that was where, even though I had a mobile phone, sometimes I would go and queue there, just to be able to make calls. So things have changed pretty quickly. By the time I was graduating, say 2004, people were using mobile phones that could take pictures and stuff. Myself, I had upgraded, so to speak, Then, you know, we had gone into the Aribas and everything. Yes, technology has been good to us, but with it came certain problems. The ability to reach a certain market, and people started exploiting that market. Now, when people start exploiting the market, good people exploit it, bad people exploit it. People exploit it for whatever reason they want to. At the end of the day, it is all about the gain. So just as the beverage or the FMCGs exploited it and used it and started advertising, and you know, your traditional, what they call above the line kind of advertising or traditional advertising changed, and it migrated onto social media. So we went digital. Well, people who, for some time, until that time, you'd find them around Tiptoe, or you'd find them around the Togo Embassy, or you find them around the Cantonment Post Office, or around Watu, or some other places at night, wearing skimpy dresses, showing a little bit of their boobs, waiting for somebody to say, "Sss," then they make their money. Also migrated their business from the streets onto social media. So they started displaying all sorts of nudity, things to attract you. Of course, the growth of porn sites did not also help the situation. So people got to realize that, this was a quicker way to expand your market rather than going to stand in a corner. Because Samson, let's face it, you're standing in a corner around Togo Embassy, or I think that's a 4 Circular Road roundabout or something like that. You're standing around there. I mean, how many people are going to see you? But if you migrated onto social media and you started showing yourself in a certain way, you started doing certain dances, you started showing a certain amount of flesh and all that, the speed with which your following would grow, because that gives you a certain virility. It becomes very viral. It goes on very quickly. So Samson sees it. Hey, Charlie, I see some girl for Instagram to do. George, you see Samson sends it to George. George sends it to Michael. Michael sends it to Kwame. Kwame sends it here, and there. And by the time you realize, your following is growing. So when some people got to realize that, okay, this girl started going to Dubai. This girl started going to Nigeria. This girl started going to South Africa. This girl even started going to States or somewhere else just because she was twerking, as they call it today, on social media. It means I could also do it. And Samson, we cannot deny the fact that sex sells. It is the oldest trade, or the oldest profession in the book, prostitution. So sex has always sold. You understand? It may not work for men the way it would work for women, because somebody says a man can have all the six-pack, but at the end of the day, the woman is going to go with the one who has the dollars. So a man, you're better off working hard, making the money, they will come. A woman, and that is why they started, that is what led some of them to now start saying, I'm going for a surgery, or I'm going to, they would kill themselves to do all manner of workout. Now, women should not get me wrong, this is not a generalization. We are speaking to a specific type of women who do it for a certain gain, a certain visibility, a certain following, a certain attention, without knowing that there's a certain green book in your hand which has got the law that can give them 25 years in prison. So basically, that is just a brief history as to how we got to where we are today, and how today nudity has become so cool on social media.
Right. So the aspects of this law, and you could tell that the makers of the law were clear and strategic about what they wanted. Knowing that our old laws have a gap, a very wide gap. As you mentioned, internet to our part of the world is new. So that was the biggest gap. So now we have a law that has a focus on the internet, so that the crimes you commit or the things you do on the internet are affected. You find that there was a special intention to protect girls. And to some extent, you could say, by extension, girls, we are also talking about women. Because often they are the victims. So that one is looking to go to jail or pay a minimum of 30,000 Ghana cedis between 30,000 cedis and 60,000 Ghana cedis, or in addition to going to paying that amount of money, looking to face jail of between 5 to 10 years. That is for simply taking and circulating indecent images or nude images of someone.
Yeah.
Then, if you took your activity onto the cyber sphere and you were found to be doing things that involve the sexual abuse of children and even adults. For example, the law names child grooming.
Yep.
I have seen child grooming. I need to understand what that means. It says child grooming for sexual purposes. Or if you were somebody who was aiding and abetting such a thing, like child grooming. Aiding and abetting could be that you are either promoting it, you are giving money to sponsor it, or you are providing a platform for such a thing to be done. You are providing facilities, be it your home or whatever facility it is for that purpose. And then it also talks about cyber stalking of a child. Then you could be looking to go to jail for 15 years, between 5 and 15 years. And I find something very interesting here, that the law doesn't seem to give you an option of paying a fine. Then if you fail to pay the fine, you are put into jail for some of these offenses. And the very final one is that if you threaten someone to circulate their indecent image for purposes including that you want to get cash, what you may call blackmail, or what the law calls sexual extortion, then you are looking to getting into jail for a minimum of 10 years and a maximum of 25 years. Again, you could be circulating videos or pictures, which involve intimate encounters with a partner. But once there is no consensus, the person has not agreed for you to share it and you did, then you find that the sanction is a bit reduced for that one. Either video or picture, video recording, then you go to jail for 1 year or 3 years. How do you process all of this from where you sit?
I think the makers of the law really did a lot of thinking, and they are kind of even predicting the future, because you'd realize that yourself when you got to the part about child grooming, you realize it's kind of new to you. It's new to you because it's not a space you play in. But trust me, if we have child trafficking today, and there's an aspect of child trafficking that our law or our investigators or people that look into child trafficking haven't even looked at. Samson, would it surprise you if I told you that a lot of the beggars that you see on our streets are actually trafficking, and they are working for people? And at the end of the day, every day, they go and render accounts. All these women you see with children and all those things standing at various traffic points are actually working for big kingpins. Well, it would definitely not be all of them, but trust me, the majority of them are working for people. If you've seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire, it was sort of based on that kind of premise. Okay. And that was what the kids were doing in the beginning, and they were working for somebody. And trust me, it is right here in Ghana too. And there are some who actually, sometimes the kids that you even see them carrying when they are sitting in traffic and all that, the kids aren't even theirs. It's all part of the setup to court you into feeling sympathetic toward the applied, into it's a sort of extortion to make you feel sorry for them. Oh, they don't have food to eat, they don't have. But of course, it's all people leveraging on a weak social
system.
What do you
support
social,
system?
Exactly, social support system. If we had a very solid social support system where they know very well that, look, if you're seen with a child in traffic imploring alms, the child will be taken away from you and will be sent to social services or child services or something like that. It may curb that kind of occurrence. So the makers of this law, I'm sure, anticipated or kind of got wind of the fact that, look, if this thing is happening today, what would be the next step? If I am Slay King or Slay Queen X, and I've done it for a while, I'm 60 years old now, I'm 50 years old now, I'm not doing it anymore. And some, there's something biblical about some of these things. Look, if you do not do good business, at the end of the day, one day you will starve. So a lot of the time, some of the people that do some of these things do not really use the money for anything sensible. So you are 60 and suddenly you find yourself getting broke. You're hungry. Because of the kind of lifestyle you were living, you haven't really set up anything. You don't really have a very solid family support or anything of the sort. So they start recruiting people who can become their assets, who would feed them eventually. So that is where the concept of child grooming comes in. And they start grooming them early. Very, very early. The sad part is that the grooming process will not show on social media. What you see eventually is some girl who all of a sudden pops up out of nowhere and is being celebrated for having a big backside. I mean, that is the reality. Someone wakes up in the morning and believes that, okay, this is social media. Let me go there, shake my backside, twerk it a little bit, and that's it. And people are not asking themselves, why is this person doing this? Samson, it is business. That person is selling. Again, our ladies should not get me wrong. It may not be all of them. Some may just be doing it for fun. Some may just be flaunting their God-given assets. But one might want to ask, for what? To what end? So I am particularly excited about that part that protects our children, because you'd realize that this is a country, or in our part of the world, sometimes we do not protect children enough. Even those of us in the media, it always becomes some sort of an ethical dilemma when cases involving children are being reported. I mean, there are certain media organizations or media personnel who don't even know that when you're dealing with issues that are sensitive to children, sometimes you don't even need to disclose their names. You don't need to disclose their direct identities. You don't need to show their faces and some of all these things. You ask yourself that, what kind of media training have some of these people had? And, what sort of ethical dilemma tools? There are various tools in resolving ethical dilemmas in the media space. What sort of ethical dilemma tools are some of these people using? Are they going by the categorical imperative? Are they going by the Rawls golden mean? Are they going by which one are they going by? You understand? To resolve that ethical dilemma so that they can weigh the options and know how much of the information to give out. Because at the end of the day, it is key to protect children at all times.
Right.
Then there is the aspect of revenge porn, which I am particularly excited about.
Right. I think not too long ago, we even had, is it a musician or someone who lives in Ghana and the UK or so, who faced a situation like that?
Exactly. It's a very tricky situation. What makes me excited about this is that for once, there could be something in the law that, quote unquote, may protect men too.
All right.
This particular one, as compared to the concept of rape favors women more. But Samson, if I walk to a police station and went to report that Cassandra or Mafia has raped me, they would even laugh at me. It might sound absurd. They may not attach the same level of seriousness if it were the other way around. But in this case, you'd realize that a lot of the time, when news about men leak, when you go deep into it, it could come from one of two sources. A disgruntled ex-boyfriend of the lady he is with currently, or a lady he has just parted ways with, or a current girlfriend who has probably caught him with another woman. So usually when it comes to revenge porn, men, I think this particular aspect of the law for once would protect men, and I'm particularly happy about it. That is not to say that women aren't protected too. Because there are some silly men, and if you saw my post about this conversation earlier in the day, I did emphasize that of that angry man, there is a very warm cell waiting for you at Nsawam. If you decide to post the nudes of it, because look, relationships are built on trust. I am in a relationship with Ajili or Atre or Ashali or Adakun or somebody. So once we're in the relationship, there is trust. So Adakun decides to say, okay, you know, on the Late Night Express at 11 o'clock, I do something called the Love Classroom, where we speak about various ways to improve your love life at home. And I've spoken about, you know, how to entice your sex life before. And one of the tips that I shared was the fact that, look, to be able to get your man in the best of moods, don't wait for him to get home. Start when he is at work. And one of the ways you can start is by sending him pictures of yourself. That is between the two of you, two mature people. Probably you're married. You understand? So the woman has trusted you enough to send you a nude of herself, probably a wet private part, something just to get you thinking about her for the rest of the day while you work your way toward getting home. So that when you close from work, you don't follow the boys to go and watch Manchester United beat Manchester City, as will be happening in the next few hours. You just rush home to your partner, you know, celebrate love in the best of ways.
But hold it on a bit.
So the relationship has gone south. You were saying?
It's not midnight yet, so hold it on a bit.
Yes, but slow it down. You know, so the relationship has taken, it's broken, it's messed up, it's gone south. And then you, the man, you have this lady's news on your phone, and a week before her wedding, you are so jealous, so bitter, so angry, then you leak it. 25 years is not enough. You deserve life sentence.
Okay.
25 years, because it's clearly a breach of trust.
So let me start, and we're going to take your calls. Myself and George will try and assist you to better appreciate this law. And they talk about child stalking. We should also get to understand that child stalking. So you may begin to join the conversation, particularly with your questions. Those of you who are on campuses, and once in a while we hear that in this campus, on that campus, somebody has leaked someone's this, and nothing happens. It is just the girl who goes through a very embarrassing situation, and oftentimes they will leave the campus and never to return. They will leave the campus never to return. Sometimes it gets to a point where they cannot even show their face in public and go to any other school. Their lives have been destroyed. On the 29th of December, 2020, the president assented to a law, which has a bill, if you like, which has now become an act. And on the same day, the government press did what is known as the Gazette notification. So it has become law from the 29th of December 2020. If you do these things, you will be in trouble, and you could go to jail for 5 years, for 10 years, for 15 years, and for 25 years. You could be paying between 30,000 and 60,000 Ghana cedis for acting, like I have said somewhere, foolish. The law in section 62, and you can join us now. Our phone lines are activated. If you are on the Zoom, we are activated. You can join us now. The law begins by saying, under what it calls protection of children online, indecent image or photograph of a child. Section 62, a person shall not take or permit to be taken an indecent image or photograph of a child. So even if you were the parent, you cannot take and you cannot permit someone else to take a photograph of your child, which photograph is indecent. It's indecent if it shows some of the private part of the child. some of the private part. It must not necessarily show the sexual organ. You cannot produce or procure an indecent image or photograph of a child for the purposes of publication. So if you didn't take it, or you are not the one who permitted it to be taken, you cannot also receive it for the purposes of publication through a computer system. You cannot publish, you cannot stream, including live streaming of that kind of image or photograph, or through whatever electronic device. And guess what? You cannot possess it. You can't receive it in the first place, and you cannot also possess it. You can't keep it in your electronic device, on your electronic device, or any storage, medium of storage. If you do so, you have committed an offense, and you are liable on summary conviction to a fine not less than 2,500 penalty units and not more than 5,000 penalty units. A penalty unit is 12 Ghana cedis. So multiply 2,500, 12 by 2,500, you will get 30,000, and not more than 5,000 penalty units. You multiply 12 by 5,000, you get 60,000. Or go to jail for not less than 5 years and not more than 10 years, or to both. That is what you will get if you try to do any such thing. So I'm ready. Join us. Let's have a conversation. Again, it says that you cannot publish a visual recording of what we have spoken about already, or you can publish a visual recording of parts of that photograph or image that you have taken. So if it's not all of it, not part of it either. It says indecent image or photograph includes a material image, visual recording, video drawing, video or drawing, or text that depicts. So recognize this. It could include drawing, not actually the actual picture, because you may have taken it, you may have taken a video, and then you are drawing out of it. So it includes, this is what it includes: a child engaged in sexually explicit or suggestive conduct. A person who appears to be a child engaged in a sexually explicit or suggestive conduct. Images representing a child engaged in a sexually explicit or suggestive conduct. Sexually explicit images of children. Any written material, visual representation, even audio recording that advocates or counsels, counsel mean trains, sort of advises, sexual activity with children, that would be an offense under our criminal law. Any written material that has, or as its dominant characteristics, the description for a sexual purpose of sexual activity with a child, that would be an offense if it is committed. Any audio recording that has, or its dominant characteristic and description or presentation or representation for a sexual purpose or sexual activity, and so on and so forth. So we'll tell you the other ones also. Who do I have? Tevia Evans, you are calling from Accra. What does this news mean to you, and what do you want to share with us? Any questions?
Good afternoon, Samson and George.
Hi.
I want to say that for the first time, or maybe the second time, I'm feeling proud as a Ghanaian that, for one, we've seen a law that's coming from the lawmakers that is taking care of something that we, the ordinary citizens, are fighting over, suffering from, and all of that. For example, how the children are going to be protected, how men are going to be protected. As George was saying, you'll be there and somebody just brings videos of their own secret and they bring it out, and it causes a lot of trauma. And we don't even look at the trauma it causes external people. So I think that the media should do well to advocate on this law, interpret it well, and have some program that will make it run for a while so that we get to know. Because I was just scrolling through social media and I saw this and I decided to listen. And this is so important. So I am appealing to the media houses that I know JoyNews will do good with that.
Thank you very much, Teria Evans. Thank you so very much. And I have the similar feeling like you do, to be proud to be a Ghanaian, particularly in this month. Now, check this. What the things I have described, it is not only the persons who are involved directly or receiving and storing that may be in trouble. But if you are an owner or operator of a computer online service,
Exactly.
so the platform on which it was streamed, the platform on which it was publicized or circulated, web blog, internet service, or internet bulletin board service, if you are involved in any such by permitting or by soliciting these things, you also could be liable to a term of imprisonment not less than 5 years and not more than 15 years. In your case, there is no option of paying money, where you would say you might be fortunate to pay money and go scot-free. No option of paying money. What do you say about that, George?
You see, so this is where it becomes a little confusing for some of us who are not lawyers, and you might be able to help. So let us assume somebody put my nudes on, say, Instagram. And Instagram probably didn't notice till I flagged it 24 hours, or let's say even 10 minutes after. Within those 10 minutes, a lot of damage could be done. Even if it was just for 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, you could lose endorsement deals, a lot of damage could be done. And let us say I'm able to identify who posted it there. Let's say it was Seth Kwame Boateng put it there. So who do I go after? I go after both Seth Kwame Boateng and Instagram? Is that what the law is saying?
Right. So by criminal punishment, this is criminal law, or what you would say is public law. We have public law and we have private law. So by criminal punishment, this is intended to punish the perpetrators so that there is deterrence, so other people will not also do the same thing. So deterrence is number one. And also it could mean that by doing so, there will be reformation. That person, when they go and suffer as many as 15 years and return, they will never be tempted to do so any longer. So that is how the state wants to protect you, by punishing those people. That is for the state. But you yourself have the opportunity to take, by way of private law, go to court in a civil action to seek compensation for yourself. Let's take Gabriel. Gabriel is calling us from Teshi Nungwa. Hello, Gabriel.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Gabriel, speak up.
Good afternoon, Samson.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so I want to find out in this instance where that very nude material is leaked, not by me, by, let's say, a repairer or something. What happens to me, or what happens to that very, very particular repairer?
Okay, so the law is so clear, fluorescent clarity, that you are not supposed to possess in the first place. So once that third party, this is your private property, like George explained, you and your partner decided to share for yourselves, and then you took it for repairs and perhaps you forgot and left it on your storage. You haven't committed any crime. But for that third party to even decide to now circulate it, then they will be the ones who will be at fault. And so you report them and they will be picked up. Previously, there was no way for you to go to the police and get them to be dealt with. But this time, you have a law that protects you in a maximum way. Right, so Gabriel sent us that, brought us that question from Tashi Nungwa. You can also join, and like I said, George will now try to explain to us what is meant particularly by child stalking. You know, I've read the portions about children so far. There are portions about adults. I've told you about them without reading. Section 65 talks about child stalking, and it says, a person shall not use a computer online service, an internet service, or a local internet bulletin board service, or any other electronic device to compile, transmit, publish, reproduce, buy, sell, receive. Look, the lawmaker is wicked, if you like, use that. Catches everybody within the chain. Compile, publish, reproduce, buy, sell, receive, exchange, disseminate, disseminate the name, telephone number, electronic mail advice, residence address, picture, physical description, characteristics, or any other identifying information of a child in furtherance of an effort to arrange a meeting with the child for the purpose of engaging in sexual intercourse, sexually explicit conduct, or unlawful sexual activity. And if you did this, then you will be guilty and will be looking to go to prison for 5 years minimum and for 15 years maximum. So, George, child stalking, it appears to explain it, but what does it mean?
Clearly, you know, there are child talents all over the world. A very good example over here is our own DJ Switch. Pretty young girl, very talented, award winner, local and international, if I should put it that way. You may be surprised to know that there's some adult sitting in some corner fantasizing about her.
Yeah.
Dreaming all sorts of things that he would want to do to her. You know, some time back, I was following a conversation on social media. I've forgotten the fine details of it, but it had to do with, I think somebody posted a picture of her daughter. And then somebody came to comment, if I get her, man, the way I go. You understand?
Yeah, in fact, somebody says something similar to DJ Switch.
Exactly. Well, I think it had to do with DJ Switch. If I get that is totally wrong. That is child stalking. That was an opportunity for you to express yourself, but how do we know your intent prior to that expression?
Great. So, George, this happened last year, and there was no law to punish whoever did this. But today,
exactly,
from the 29th of December 2020, that kind of conduct, you could get yourself 5 years, you could get yourself 15 years.
And all those things. You should, in fact, this one, you should even go to jail outright because it is just not on. You understand? And look, sometimes even some family members, some relatives or some family friends pass certain comments. You understand? And all those things. It looks like it's a joke because, oh, it's just a family member. But look, even the Bible has said it, from the abundance of the heart comes what's in the mouth.
Right.
Or something like that. You understand? So you cannot just take certain statements or certain expressions lightly and say, oh, senyashi. No, we do too much of senyashi in this country. But maybe that's because there was no law, so we probably didn't even know that it was wrong. Look, we're in a country where there are fathers sleeping with their daughters. We're in a country where there are teachers taking advantage of students. There are, and it goes both ways. Female teachers taking advantage of male students, male teachers taking advantage of female students, and so on. And you know, these things do not just up and happen. Usually there are feelings that have been bottled up for quite a while. And some of these feelings are, they emanate from child stalking. They fixate an attention on you. They watch you over a period. They follow you on social media. And also it's also an onus on parents to ensure that, look, if you can, do not give your kids phones too early. That's pretty important. You understand? Because though the word teen is associated from age 13, trust me, up to age about 16, in Ghana, you're still pretty much a child. Look, I could even say up to age 18, you're still pretty much a child. So parents should not be in a hurry, because some of us were still kids until you're still a child until the day you leave your parents' home. So even if you are 70 and you're still in your parents' home, you're still a child.
Right. So this is where we are practically transferring or translating what happens to us in the physical life of interaction onto the internet world, because we know what is stalking in the physical world. People try to follow women, try to track them where they are, and so on and so forth. If you did the same using the means of the internet, like the law says, trying to search, look for, and circulate their address or their image, and so on and so forth, then you could be in trouble for purposes of sex. Right.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break. We will be right back. And when we return, I will be showing you what the law says about sexual extortion. Sexual extortion. It happens, and people will get into trouble for that. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. This is the law. This is your legal light and health law. I'm Samson Ladi Anyanini, and in the course of the last 3 weeks, we have been bringing you new laws that are passed in the country that people don't know about them, but they have consequences, because the general principle of law is that ignorance of the law is no excuse. So even though this cybersecurity law became law by the assent of the president on the 29th of December 2020, and it was Gazette notified. There was Gazette notification on the same day. The fact that you don't know about it does not mean if you do the things it says you shouldn't do, you can tell any court that I was not aware, or you can tell any police officer that I was not aware. Therefore, I should not be punished. You will be punished. Kwame in Kumasi. Let's hear you, Kwame.
Okay, Samson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I think my first question has been answered by your introduction. I just got to hear you said it's the cybersecurity law, right?
That's correct.
So when I go online, I can download a PDF and read for myself.
I don't know if it's available online yet. It's a very fresh law. It's just became available in soft, I think, 2 weeks ago.
No problem. The second thing is that I think this law is going to help the lazy Ghanaian bloggers to set up, because around the world are using the internet for good impact for their countries. But if you look at the Ghanaian community online, it's like nudity, insult, abuse. These three things is what the Ghanaian community, home and abroad, knows how to use the internet for. So I think that this is going to really force these lazy bloggers and social media users to rethink. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. And George, the section 66 of the law is about sexual extortion. It says, a person shall not threaten to distribute by post, email, text, or transmit by electronic means or otherwise a private image or moving images of the other person engaged in sexually explicit conduct with the specific intent to harass, threaten, coerce, intimidate, or exert any undue influence on the person, especially to extort money or other consideration is money or something like that, or to compel the victim to engage in unwanted sexual activity. Actually extort money or other consideration or compel the victim to engage in unwanted sexual activity. A person shall not threaten to distribute by post, email, text, or transmit by electronic means otherwise an intimate image of a child engaged in sexually explicit, all those things. So, George, in this circumstance, it says if you did so, you will be punished with 10 years minimum and not more than 25 years maximum. Does this really happen? That someone has someone's image, sexual explicit image, and then they threaten them that if you don't let me have sex with you, I will show it. If you don't give me money, I would circulate it. Does this happen?
It is the commonest sex crime that we have in our country. It is the commonest, especially for those in showbiz. It is very, 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 very common. And a lot of people have been trapped. A lot of people have found themselves in situations where, to date, they are still doling out cash. A lot of people. And I'm particularly very happy about this law.
Blackmail.
Look, would you be surprised if I told you that there are actually some people in this country who actually deliberately target certain people and trap you in this manner just to extort money from you? It happens mostly to politicians, to religious leaders, to lead radio, television
Jesus
presenters.
Christ. Hold on, Lano, you are calling from Cantonment. Yes, let's hear you, Lano. And then after you, Peter in East Legon. Let's hear you, Lano.
Okay, praise. And last week, my wife is a teacher. So when he closed from school, he came home and he told me one of their colleague teacher made an utterance to her and asked her that because of the dress, how he was dressing, if the husband is here, he could have had sex with her today. And I want to find out, is this not the first time? He always do it. The teacher always make that utterances to my wife. So this is my question.
Okay, so that squarely falls within the Labor Act of harassment. You are not supposed to do such things at the workplace, and that is harassment. She could report to the Labor Commission and this teacher will be in trouble. But first of all, there will be a code of conduct at the workplace. So report to whoever is in charge in this particular school, the headmaster or whoever it is, and then they will take the disciplinary actions that are required. If that is not sufficient for her, she can escalate it to the Labor Commission, and this teacher may be in trouble. Hello, Peter in East Legon.
Yes, Samson. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah, thank God very much for this law, and I believe from now going, things are going to be done properly in this country. But our children, who sometimes are exposed to this hot sun, all in the name of begging of alms, especially within traffic light, within American House, and also the, how do you call this? Yes, American House traffic light. You see these children being exposed, some as little as 2 years, 3 years on the street. Don't you think that they also deserve some form of protection? And I want to find out, does this law cover such innocent children? Because
okay, so this is about sex. This is about sex.
And all that.
This is about sex and nudity. So if you're asking for some other law to protect vulnerable children on the street or whatever, that is also good. But I suppose that there are several other laws that may be used in that direction. Yes, George, we have just about some few minutes to go, and you were expatiating on that point about extortion.
It's about the commonest crime that we have here. And I am very, very happy that a law has finally been made to protect, the vulnerable. The vulnerable in this case being politicians, religious leaders, traditional leaders, people like yourself, Samson, anybody with any kind of prominence, any kind of visibility, any kind of following is a possible threat, is exposed to this kind of harassment, if I should put it that way. So I am particularly excited. I wish the jail term could be a lot longer, because the idea is to make it a deterrent. The idea is to ensure that people
a lot longer, like what? Charlie, 25 years is a lot too.
25 years legally, it's 9 months make a year in jail, so technically we're talking about 18 years or so. Look, this thing has the potential of destroying someone's life, someone's family. People have been driven to suicide just because their sex photos or images or stuff like that leak.
That's right.
Samson, not everybody is built to be as solid as people like you. There are people out there who really and truly do not care. You understand? There are people who, look, recently there was one that was leaked purportedly about a certain musician. They were talking about sushi and all that. He doesn't look worried. He doesn't look affected. As nobody knows whether or not it is him. He hasn't come out to say it's not him. He hasn't come out to say it is him whatsoever. But the gentleman looks okay. That is a strong man. That is somebody who's, you know, his self-esteem is solid. He is strong. He's okay. He's been able to take it. As to whether or not it was deliberate or whatever, to push a brand or to push a song or whatever, we do not know. But not everybody can be that strong. It is for those weak people. It is for those people who know that whatever it is they could lose could be the end of everything they built all their lives. It is for those people that we need to, you know, make this kind of law as severe as possible so that people do not take advantage of people needlessly.
All right. Thank you very much. And the aspect about it also that says that consensual sharing of video. So even you and your partner, if I didn't consent and you did, you are in trouble. But even
and that is
for yourself,
partners who can't wait and share everything with their friends. You know, there are partners like that.
That's right.
You know, everything they want to share with their friends.
I suppose that's where the law understands and says you could go into jail for only 1 year or for 3 years maximum. But also know that even your own, if you put your own nude picture out there, you could be in trouble for publishing obscene material, and you could go into jail for that. This has been the law. Thank you very much, GQ, George Quay, for helping us with this discussion. I'm Samson Ladi Ayanini. As always, this has been the law. It's your legal light and help law. We have told you, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Don't get foolish and get into jail for 10, 5, 15, and 25 years, or to pay 30 to 60,000 for being foolish.